us here into this temple. For one reason, that it's been last half a century, which means it's 50 years that he is the monk. How many of you know about Srila Prabhupada? The founder and charter of Iskcon, A.C. Bhaktimarga Prabhupada. So he is a disciple of Prabhupada and he's also an initiating guru. So from last 50 years he has been a monk. But very interestingly, he's also called as the walking monk. And why he's called a walking monk? Because I think many of us know, he's walked across Canada, not once, not twice, not thrice, but 4 times. He has walked across Canada from east to the west coast. And it's not just Canada, he's also walked across the United States, Ireland, Fiji Islands, and Trinidad, Mauritius, Guyana, and so many, Israel, and so many other countries. That's all places that he has walked. And when people ask, why do you walk so much? He walks so that he can raise friends. He can tell more and more people about Krishna. And of course, he can chant and do Kirtan everywhere. So certainly, he has a very global and an international experience of doing Kirtan. And today specifically, he's going to tell about Kirtans and how we need to actually do the Kirtan, in what mood and everywhere. So thank you so much, Maharaj, and we'll give it to you.
Thank you so much. I was born in the darkest of Ethans. My spiritual master opened my eyes with the torch of knowledge. I offer my respectful obeisances. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. I'm just going to ask what Prabhupada did. If you could just slide in a little closer. There's big gaps there. Some people come in a little bit late. Yeah, that's good. Nice and cozy. After all, it's getting, we're experiencing the October chill. So we'll begin. The presenters here for this very important workshop are myself and Bhaktimarga, who just spoke to you, and also Rukmini Devi Dasi, who's right over there by the screen. Yes? Okay, good. So we'll be sharing in our presentation here. This is important. I'm wondering if Vishaka could help us just get the lights down, as I asked you. The lights down, as many as possible. Okay, so we can be effective here. These lights here at the balcony, I think they can go up as well as some of them upstairs. Okay, so we're in the Halloween mood here. No spooky. Okay, this will be informative. The other day, someone sent me an email. I don't know who the person was, just somebody from out of the blue said, I love Radharani. This is what it said. I love Radharani. And I just chant Radha's name, Radha, Radha, Radha. And I said, absolutely not. Okay. And the reason is because we have a protocol to follow. We have a tradition, you know. Radha never stands alone. She's always with Krishna. Now, for those of you who are kind of new, Radha is the consort, eternal consort of Krishna. Krishna is the divine masculine God. Radha is the divine feminine God. They together are one. Good. So now what we just did was Kirtan, and Kirtan has standards like anything else. If you enroll in some kind of job, they have standards that you follow, right? But based on experience, tradition, after going through the trial and error, this works, that does not work, okay? So we'll move along, okay? Okay, workshop topics. Do we need standards? Is it needed? Some people are saying yes. Do I have any no's? The reason why I bring that up is some people just think, I'll just do whatever I want. That has to come from my heart, you know? If I'm going to have a connection with God, then I should do whatever I want. I don't need to have anyone to tell me what to do. Is that a healthy atmosphere? I don't think so. Okay, who sets the standards? Why do we chant? Where do we chant? Roles and responsibilities and various techniques. Okay, let's move on. Rukmini, can you read this?
So I know we've said this a couple of times now, but is there a need for standards within Iskcon? So let's take a look. Let's see if you can start. You hear the music over here.
Oh. Okay, that's what it means. Test this beforehand.
So I'm going to say another disclaimer is that this is a presentation that we use for a larger workshop that lasts a full day. So We did a lot of technical maneuvering today to get this presentation up, and yet it's still not the one that we want. So we apologize in advance. Actually, I apologize in advance that it's not up to speed, but we're going to see some other videos later on.
Oh, well, it's your karma, right?
Yes, it is.
Kirtan needs to be attractive. Let's see what Prabhupada has to say about that. Balabhai.
Okay, I'm as clueless as you are because I'm going to read the slides.
I'm sorry, there's supposed to be a quote, but maybe not yet. So, I think we can start here though. Who sets the standards, Balabhai Prabhu?
Oh, who sets the standards? So like I said, Rukmini Mataji, I'm going to be as clueless as everyone here is. I'm also going to be the part of presentation. And I'm just going to do the reading work, and that's going to be behalf of everyone else. So I will be as curious as each one of you are here, just to understand what's happening next. So, like you said, who sets the standards? Good question. Who sets the standards, Mataji? Prabhupada. Okay, that was an easy answer. Okay, within these Vaishnava standards, which I have put forward, lies the spiritual strength of our movement.
And that's a letter to Sudama, February 16, 1973. We'll be giving references to these standards, these statements.
In this age of Kali, practically everyone is like Jagai and Madhai. But the Sankirtan movement inaugurated by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is still flowing like a great river, inundating the entire world.
If anybody wants to know who Jagai and Madhai is, you can read about them in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. They were born in Brahminical families, and they became very fallen, fell from grace. They were into nasty, naughty things, let's put it like that. So here's Jagai and Madhai, fallen people, and we are also somewhat in that category. So we need, to redeem ourselves by participating in Kirtan. Balabhai.
I'm going to Montreal, and if I find Montreal quite suitable, I shall call you and some other students to assemble there to practice Sankirtan in a systematic way.
The story is that Prabhupada came in 1965. He set up a branch in New York City and inaugurated the Iskcon movement in 66. Then he went to the west coast of San Francisco. The third place is right here in Canada, in Montreal, and he had 3 couples, married couples. He was training them how to do Kirtan nicely, so it would be attractive. Why? Because they were on their way to Britain, to Great Britain, UK, and there they were going to present Krishna consciousness and open up a chapter there. So Prabhupada wanted Kirtan to sound nice to be there.
This is a continuation of the previous quote. It says, of course, chanting Hare Krishna does not require any artificial artistic sense, but still, if the procedure is presented rhythmically, then the people may be attracted more by the transcendental music.
Okay, why do we chant and where are we chanting? Okay, is this something we want to make? Why do we chant? Anybody have some ideas? Quickly. Why do we chant?
Purification.
Purification, yay. What else? Why do we chant?
To feel closer to God.
To get closer to God, yes. What's another reason? Pleasure of Krishna, pleasure of God, yes. What else?
Be dedicated in service.
Huh?
Be dedicated in service.
To dedicated in service, yes. Anything else?
Move back.
Back in the back. Purify, we mentioned purification. Thank you, it's good to get it reiterated. What else? It gets you into association, brings you. Yes, in the back.
Overcome obstacles.
Overcome obstacles.
Overcome the obstacles, good. How about to have a good time? Party. Let's go. Chitta Dharpana Marjana, to cleanse the mirror of the mind. That's the point that was made by some of you.
Cheto Darpan Marjana. If you chant always 24 hours without any payment, so it will cleanse. It will cleanse your heart so that you will be able to analyze your position, God's position, the world's position. Then everything will be nicely clear and illuminated. Sure.
Said by Srila Prabhupada, 67, New York City. Move on.
The dirty things in the heart of a conditioned soul are the root cause of all troubles for him. These dirty things of fruitive work and empiric philosophy can be removed only by association with the Supreme Lord.
That's one of my favorite pictures of Srila Prabhupada by Maharaj.
Oh, thank you for letting me know.
So now we're going to kind of delve a bit more into the importance of chanting nowadays.
Here's a quote from the Srimad Bhagavatam. My dear king, although Kali Yuga is an ocean of faults, there's still one good quality about this age. Simply by chanting a Hare Krishna Mama mantra, I don't want to call Mama. That's right. We cleaned up the thing, one can become free from material bondage and be prompted to the transcendental kingdom. Okay? That was one good thing about Kali Yuga, the age in which we live. It's a dark time. People are, just catch the news, see what's going on. It's not like heaven. So we need some kind of way of, let's say, bringing some hope to the world. And chanting is a very powerful mechanism for that. Okay.
The importance of chanting today. Actually, we should give more stress in worshipping the incarnation of sound vibration. But whenever there's a possibility of installing deities and strictly following the regulations of worship, we shall do this. But the essential part of our activities is to worship the sound incarnation.
This is very important because in our culture, people come here for darshan. Not just on Sunday like today, but throughout the week. We noticed that after the pandemic, there's a greater attendance of people throughout the day and in the evenings for the evening art for darshan. But let it be known that more important for darshan or to do puja and participate is to actually engage in chanting the Mahamantra and other mantras related. That is called the sound incarnation of God, and that's what we are recommended to do every day. On your way to work, when doing the dishes, when you're just about to argue with somebody. Anytime, any place is okay for chanting. There's a question of how loud it should be. That's another point. So.
And I think what's helping to see all these quotes by Srila Prabhupada, because we're emphasizing this is part of the standards, not just Kirtan, but the standards behind it, we're also hearing from Srila Prabhupada the actual depth of what we're doing, right? I think we can all agree that we've enjoyed the Kirtan, we might have participated, clapped, sang, but now we're actually receiving the depth of what we're actually doing. So we see very clearly that Prabhupada is saying that the essential part is the actual worship of the sound incarnation.
Very good. The roles and responsibilities.
So we're not going to get so much into where we chant because we're all in the same location, we're all in the temple room, so we're going to focus on chanting here. But what we wanted to discuss here is, everyone plays a role, whether it's someone who's singing, the person who's playing the musical instruments, and actually even all of the audience, which includes everyone here. So we're going to kind of delve a bit deeper into those roles and responsibilities and what that looks like.
And I'm also glad Maharaj mentioned already about where and when, while you went to your work or wherever you are, and specifically before you are getting into an argument with anyone else. So yeah, you can chant anywhere, that's of course one thing. And talking about the roles and responsibilities, we have read this quote. My special instruction to you all is that you practice and keep them very rhythmically and in a responsive way. That means one should chant first and others should follow him.
Okay. Recently I was in a temple elsewhere in Canada, And it's kind of a new community that will build up. It was Janmashtami. A lot of people came. And it took me a good 20 minutes to help the people understand. I'm chanting, I'm leading the mantra, and then now you respond. So, it took a little while. It wasn't that easy. So I respond, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. It goes back to me, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare.
You got it, your experience.
Can I ask how many people did not know that fact? It's okay, you can put up your hands. We're not going to count. We're not going to aim you out or anything like that. Okay, not bad. And so you're lying.
You'll find that if you keep chanting and you don't have a break, then you'll get exhausted very soon. So that's one of the reasons for the receiving and responding technique.
Also, all of us might not be the best singers like me. I'm just kidding. So it's always good to follow someone who's leading the Kirtan. Okay.
So the three main responsibilities or roles during a Kirtan, we have the leaders who are leading the chanting as Maharaj demonstrated right now, support the team. I don't know why that she went there, but
Because if you're from Guyana, you say, support them. So there's some Guyanese people there. I say that with affection. Support them.
so supporting can include those, as you can see the picture of people who are playing the kartals, which are the hand cymbals that you see, or the mridanga, or any other instruments. And you can also have the responders, so the people who are following the chant, which is mainly the audience.
Before we detail the practical responsibilities of these roles, please discuss the spiritual qualities they must all share. Okay, which spiritual responsibilities do all these roles have in common? Was there a question? Go ahead.
Okay, which spiritual responsibilities do all three roles have in common? Is there a spiritual responsibility that whether you're a leader or you're a supporter or you're a responder, but there is one spiritual responsibility which is common amongst all the three roles? So please Krishna. Desire, please Krishna. Anyone else?
Anybody else?
To be sure that Krishna.
I
Yeah.
think people are saying chanting, that they are chanting. Is that correct? Yeah, I think some people are saying that. Any other thoughts? Could you say that louder? Okay.
Think about, how about even just playing a humble role, approach it with humility, right? Take a modest position. Hare Krishna. Prabhupada's quote here, he must be himself always enthusiastic, inspire others to be always enthusiastic. Then he is really, we're talking about leader in Kirtan. A good Kirtan leader is someone who can enthuse everybody. I just want to say, one of the major themes behind this presentation is inclusiveness. Two things, inclusiveness, and the other theme is what did Prabhupada want of us? Okay, so it's really important. So I was at another temple just recently, and one person was leading on the harmonium, and he was singing, and he was also responding over the mic. So people were a little confused. Well, when do we respond? Like he didn't give that break. It was also in a little bit of a bubble, no doubt full of bhakti and devotion. But he didn't really use the eye contact. Now it's your turn. So everyone, the dancing was terrific, but everyone was quite confused about when to chant and when not to chant. You understand what I'm saying?
And in certain circumstances like that, what ends up, the sentiment that might come off is that it's more of a performance. So if someone is just singing, it's almost like as an audience member, you're just witnessing what they're doing, but what happens to your mouth? You're not really singing along, right? And the whole point is for the leader, because they're enthusiastic enthusiastic they're getting everyone else to also chant. And we'll see that in a couple more slides.
And just before that, Krishna, Mataji, just this slide here. I don't know if you remember, Maharaj, and I know this is out of the presentation, but I asked you this question once because I was attending Mangal Aarti for a long time. And how many of you know what's the time of Mangal Aarti? What's the time of Mangal Aarti? Yeah? Anyone has been to Mangal Aarti before? How many of you have been there? Okay, so what's the time of Mangal Aarti? 4:30 in the morning. And Maharaj was leading the Kirtan at 4:30 in the morning. It was many days that I was there. And then 4:30 in the morning it becomes it's a little challenge to get up in the morning and do that. And I said, Maharaj, how are you always so enthusiastic? How is that possible? Even at 4:30 and 5, you make everyone dance and you're singing and you're always enthusiastic. And that's so great to know that Srila Prabhupada also puts out here. That that's one of the qualities of the leaders, to be always enthusiastic, of course, irrespective of the time that we were doing it. So thank you, Maharaj, for always motivating.
I didn't ask you to say that.
But I'm thankful to you for motivating me, for getting up in the Mangal Aarti, and for always being so enthusiastic and sharing that enthusiasm. So,
Okay. Thank you. And we want to mention also, it's not about it's not performance necessarily. It's a service, So even if someone's a little extroverted in their presentation, it's with the purpose to involve people as much as possible, get people to dance. I still have images of asking Bhaktimarga to get into the circle and dance while chanting. You remember that? I did that a few zillion times. Okay. All right, leaders. This is a beautiful picture of Yamuna Devi, my god sister. She's from the States, and she's no longer with us, but she sings that beautiful version. Govindra Adipurusha. Okay, that's enough. Okay, Prabhupada is saying to the leaders for the present, you may join sing Kirtan party because I know that your presence will enliven everyone. This is what he's saying to one of his female disciples. He felt she was a good person to be in the Kirtan.
Whenever there were guests, Prabhupada almost always sang the standard Hare Krishna tune or some similarly very simple melodies.
Oh, let's talk about that for a second. Simplicity. Like we have leaders sometimes who just go way off the scales and they're somewhere over the rainbow. And you wonder, could you sing so everybody can follow? Make it a simple melody that everyone can. And again, it's not about you. It's not a performance. It's for Krishna, right? So make it so that inclusiveness can be realized. Everyone can play a role in it all.
So Maharaj, I have a quick question here.
I don't know if I can answer it. Go ahead.
So the question is that you said about the simple tune versus somebody, I know there are a few people who are, advanced singers and all that. Of course, like everyone knows, I'm not. So, but I've seen them, like you also mentioned, Prabhupada said that, at the congregation gatherings and big places, he would sing in a very simple and tune. So I would probably, if I had to give an example of a very complex tune, then it would be Krishna, and it's difficult for me to follow.
Yeah.
So what would be the simple tune? Do you have an example?
When we talk about Prabhupada tune, usually it goes something like this, various verses. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Thank you.
I think we clearly missed the second slide, but we differentiate between leaders, responders, and what was the third category? And we supporting. So we all started together, but good to be together, to be in the same room. Thank you, everyone.
Okay, let's move along.
So this is a pastime of Narada Muni. Have many of you heard of Narada Muni? Hands up, yeah? He's a celestial being.
He has a fountain here, and he has a Veena, and he plays, and he's like that. So, where's his color clothes?
So Maharaj actually found this story or pastime of Narada Muni that highlights the importance of not just singing, but singing melodiously. And it's a bit comical, but I think we'll all enjoy it. So starting off, once while traveling throughout the universe, Narada Muni came to a planet inhabited by many beautiful people. They lived in gorgeous palaces, dressed in splendid clothes, and were ever engaged in singing and playing on musical instruments. However, they were all deformed. Some had no feet, some no ankles, and some no knees. Some had twisted hips, some had shriveled thighs, some had disfigured torsos, some had loose teeth, some had hunched shoulders, some had bowed heads, and some had no necks. Astonished, Narada Muni asked them who they were. The people unhappily replied, "We are the personified ragas. We have become deformed by the sage Narada Muni. Mad with love, he sings the wrong melodies at the wrong time, with the wrong notes, and without proper rhythm. In this way, he has broken the limbs of our bodies." Narada inquired from the Ragas how his fault could be rectified. They directed him to, my apologies. They directed him to propitiate the goddess Saraswati. He then learned from her the science of music and became an unrivaled musician. So very quickly, you can see that Narada Muni, I don't think there's any doubt that he has great love for Krishna, that he's dedicated all, thoughts that we all came up with beforehand. But the fact that he was singing too much in the air, as Maharaj was saying, or singing in his own bubble, he caused the deformation of the personified ragas. So there is, of course, a place for love, but there's also a huge place for standards as well.
Yeah. Have you ever been to a Kirtan where people sing off key and just, oh my God, oh, and you don't want them to stop, you don't appear to be rude to them, but nevertheless there has to be a standard because that's, I can understand this story very well because if someone sings way off and they think they're really good, especially, and then you just cringe, oh my God, plug the ear, so I can understand that. I definitely don't want to use my neck and legs and things like that.
It was very clear about those deformations.
Prabhupada used the word, do things nice. He always used that word nice an awful lot. So you may not be super professional, but do it nice, melodiously, so that people will be attracted, okay? And I want to just say one more thing. If you are tone deaf, that means you're not very proficient in a musical sense. Please don't sing loud and spoil the broth, so to speak. Let it carry on, sing. And if you have a little hard time taking a direction from someone who says, you're a little off key, from something like a person who's a little experienced, don't take it so personally. They're just trying to help you. Okay? Hare Krishna.
I think this next quote helps in understanding this.
The devotee by service mode, Bhaktya, only can gradually know the personality of God.
As Maharaj was saying that, don't take it so personally. If we're all serving in a service mood, it becomes much easier to follow that.
A good Kirtan leader personally tastes the nectar of the holy name and helps others to relish it also. He doesn't just stand with his eyes closed. He interacts with other devotees and encourages them to dance and chant enthusiastically. See, she's extending her hand. Come on, get involved. Let's get sweet and melodious. That's good enough. You get the idea. It's melodious. It brings you into the spiritual realm, the Param Dhamma. Okay?
examples of sweet and melodious, and I apologize if the volume's not louder, but we'll hear another.
Get it, your karma.
It's not.
And this is His Holiness Bhaktimarga Swami, who's also no longer with us. He's in the better place.
So we're going to move on to supporting musicians. So those who are playing again the kartals, you may have seen the hand cymbals, the mridanga, which is a large clay drum, the harmonium, which is a pumped keyboard. Some people also play guitar and other instruments, but here we're going to speak about, first and foremost, respect for the instruments.
Okay, this is a room somewhere in a musician's storage where they're keeping their instruments. Would this be a good example of respecting, showing R-E-S-P-C-T to your musical instruments? No way.
Not that one.
Yeah, and your mother would get on your case.
It should not look like this.
How do we take care of Krishna's sacred instruments? You know, like saying, for instance, the Bhagavad Gita. You know, it's a sacred text. And sometimes I find the books are all over the place, not well looked after. Same thing with sacred sounds. In the Kurukshetra war, the warriors, they really took care of their instruments, meaning their weapons. They would have yajna for them. Brahmins would chant them. They even gave names to their weapons. They're sacratically worshipful. So to speak of our musical instruments, have to be treated with R-E-S-P-C-T.
So sometimes you might have noticed in the Kirtan that the melody is very beautiful, you can follow along, but there's one thing that's getting in the way. There's way too loud mridangas or way too kartals that you can't actually hear the Mahamantra itself.
Yes, and of course, if you're kind of young, no offense, you want to have an experience like being in a rave or a rock concert. So everything has to be super loud and very extremely noisy. If it doesn't break your eardrums and do major damage, then it's not proper, it's not right. I'm being so facetious there. Too loud. Most of the time in our temples, instruments are played very much louder than the singer's voice. Often only the musical instruments are heard and the actual glorification of the Lord is barely heard. According to the rules, instruments should be subordinate to the actual singer. Okay? Is that an experience? Yay? Nay? Okay. Okay. So some of you out there, how many people lead Kirtan here? Okay, great. So is that your experience sometime? It's just like a big and you feel like you're just, several Harley Davidsons in here. And you will damage your hearing instruments.
And I think both supporting and subordinate are helpful in understanding where the musicians lie in the Kirtan. Because if the musicians are there to keep time, right? Part of it is to help keep the rhythm, and if they are either too loud or going too fast, it becomes very hard for the leader to continue on. And again, this service and gets lost in all of that.
The instruments are there to support the mantra. See, that's the most important. And you see sometimes people are very, very enthusiastic to participate and support the kirtan. That's great. You've got an extra mridanga. But why does it have to be so loud? Why does that? Keep it down a little bit. Let the mantra prevail. Okay? Sometimes I feel like slapping somebody. They just, it's all like unit comment.
Sometimes the musicians, they get excited.
Yeah.
And they don't realize how loud they're playing, but they're super excited. They're into the kirtan and they're super loud because of that.
Well, understand that their hormones are exploding.
I want to share an example of one of the excitement of devotees. He was playing drums, and then he was so loud, that Maharaj has asked, by nature your drums are very loud, you don't need a mic on your drums. He said, I will show you without mic also I can be louder. And then he went one night, I don't want to name that devotee, but he banged so many of the drums that day, and his only purpose was, he said, I want to make sure everyone knows that I'm playing the drums.
And also, it's not just the drums, but the kartals, you know? The hand cymbals. It's like heavy metal kirtan. Heavy metal kirtan is so loud, and it just really disturbs the ears. In fact, we've been in public places where the kartals are so loud, people just go like this, and that means we've lost our purpose. You know? Our purpose is to make it attractive and have people come and participate. We have a quick. Yeah, Brennan over there. We'll just have to get you to say them like that.
Is it okay to videotape the mantras?
If which?
To videotape the mantras?
Oh, yes.
Absolutely. Okay. So I'm on my bike and I'm riding all the way to the West End, and it's usually a 45-minute drive. But when I listen to these mantras and chants and instrumentalists, I do it in 20 minutes. It's like me, my bike, like I'm in harmony with. It's just, it gets me so passionate and enthused.
So the music is giving you speed.
It's just, I don't know what the right word is, but I go fast. I'm just getting right into it.
Are you got headphones on?
Yes, and additionally, I find that I don't really like meditating. I like exercising better. But when I come here and I listen to the music, I get connected to my body. So it's very nice.
Very nice.
Thank you for sharing.
Quality versus quantity. So that's the point that we're riding on here. Okay? So look at all those we're done. Do we really need that many? Even on Young Street, you know, you only need a certain amount when we do rub the up. Of course, some people prefer djembes, and that's another thing. When you're in public forums, it's all right to bring in other drums. Generally in the temples, we prefer to stick to traditional instruments. And even as strange as it may seem, Prabhupada wasn't so favorable to having harmoniums as part of the kirtan. Harmoniums came from Europe, from Germany or France in the 1800s. But of course, India has sort of embraced it, just like they have tea. And what else? Oh, television. Oh, the whole world has done that. Okay, less is more. In Kirtan, all musical instruments, including the mridanga, drum, and kartals, hand cymbals, must be played in a mood of serving the Kirtan, not controlling it. Okay. Can you second verse? Not like these two monkeys. I guess that's all we're going to get out of it. Watch. This is Prabhupada playing kartals. I guess it's not going to come through. Our apologies. Kartals, the hand cymbals. Krishna consciousness means compassion. So we have to be aware that many people are sensitive to metallic sounds. There are many reports of people leaving kirtans because the kartals playing causes physical pain. Sometimes people play them so they're like dusted lids, you know, bonkers. Here's something from the Kirtan Standards book. Mridanga and kartal should be played together harmoniously to enhance the transcendental sound vibration of all the names. Kartals should be chimed sweetly, like gopis' ankle bells. They should not be clanged together like dusted lids. Okay? So we would suggest that say you're very enthusiastic, oh, I want to participate, I want to get, if you don't know how to play, and you haven't had any lessons with cartels or drum, we may suggest that don't pick them up, leave them where they are, and just let some experienced people do it. And if you want to learn the art of playing these instruments, we do have lessons available for them. Who should they contact? Yeah, we do have some lessons. For Mridanga playing harmonium, so I guess we can take it too.
You can email info@torontokrishna.com. I help serve that email address so I can direct you to the right person.
Okay,
This
great.
is just one example of sweet cartels or sweet carteling by in the heart.
Olivia. You can hardly hear the cartels, but they're in the background. They're supporting what's going on there. Good. We're going to have to wrap it up really soon.
So, would you like to go on to the dancing part?
Oh, gee, I don't know if we have time. What time did we usually finish here? 7:15. Pardon? Yeah, we might have to do part 2 next time when I'm around here. I think we're doing good. Has everyone learned something from this? I see thumbs up. I see. Okay, thank you. There's a lot more to go through, and of course we hear sometimes people chanting all kinds of questionable things, and you wonder where did that come from. Even you'll be surprised, Jai Guru Dev, Prabhupada didn't like it. So we generally don't do that in this temple. When I travel around, it made it very clear, Jai Guru Dev. There's reasons for it. And other things. There's chanting that you get away with. Itago Haribo, Haribo. For instance, and he never gave that to us. He never gave that mantra to us. He kind of tolerated it, you could say. But, so those are things to consider. Again, our themes are inclusiveness, and of course humility, and also what did Prabhupada want of us when it comes to Kirtan. The reason if you don't have standards, and I'll wrap it up soon, if you don't have standards, then what will happen? We'll go in all strange directions, and we'll become labeled as sahajas. Before you know it, Krishna's name won't be in there anymore. It can